Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of All Things Quantum Touch with Shelly Liedtke and myself, Renée Morris. Join us for today's episode as we discuss the question, do I need to believe in quantum touch for it to work? Enjoy! Hi everyone, hi Shelly. Welcome to episode 3 of All Things Quantum Touch with Shelly Liedtke and myself, Renée Morris. On tonight's episode, we're going to discuss the question, is it important for the recipient of quantum touch or the practitioner to believe in it in order for it to work? So I'm super happy to be here with you again, Shelly. I'm really enjoying our videos and our regular chats. It's a lot of fun, and I also have to disclose that I'm getting more and more comfortable, like we were just talking about, being on the camera. So I'm happy about that as well. And I find this is a really, really interesting question. If it's important for the practitioner or the client to believe in quantum touch for it to work. And I would love to hear what you think. Is it a black and white question? Is it a gray zone? What has your experience been? Do you work on clients who don't believe in it? Were there times when you didn't believe in it? So I feel like there's a lot of different ways that this question could go. So let me know what your thoughts are. Let's get chatting.
That is a really good question to ask, because there's times when we as practitioners are sending energy and we're wondering, is this darn stuff even working? Is anything happening? Because sometimes you wonder, but as long as you're doing the techniques and everything, it is working. So you check within yourself, keep doing the quantum touch techniques that are outlined in the book and in the workshop. And really sincerely, the first step to learning quantum touch is getting the book, and you can start playing with techniques yourself and with your family and friends and even your pets or your garden or whatever, and play with it and see. But using the techniques themselves, as long as you're doing them, then something is happening. So does somebody need to believe? I don't think they need to believe, because I have a cute little experience I can share. My husband and I, we were at a gal's home, and she had this cute little Cocker Spaniel, little golden one. And we happened to end up talking about quantum touch and sending energy. And so I picked up the apple that she had there on the counter and started sending energy. And her little dog, he stops and he gets this incredulous look on his face, like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And he goes, ooh, just like that.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And so he could see it.
Yeah, he picked up, he was aware, he was sensitive to what was being done, which is really interesting because, of course, a pet doesn't believe in or disbelieve in quantum touch, they just feel. And that's definitely another question for another week that we'll have to talk about, is quantum touch and pets. But that's a great example of that it's actually not even necessarily relevant to believe or disbelieve because it's working regardless, so long as you're doing the process and following the techniques according to how they're taught. So yeah, that's really interesting.
Well, he was able to see it. Yeah, he was able to see it. Like it was very obvious he was seeing, because he was looking straight at my hands and the apple, and we just all kind of giggled because of his shocked reaction. He just could not believe what he was seeing, and he let us know that he just couldn't believe. What am I?
Amazing.
Yeah, he couldn't believe what his eyes were seeing. So
wow,
it was just really sweet. And that's one instance where, how would he believe in anything? It's kind of like Richard talking about sending energy to the bunny rabbit in Accelerate Healing. If anyone has not listened to that recording, I would encourage you to do so and take the opportunity to do that, because Richard talks about sending energy to a little bunny rabbit. And he mentions that he had a friend bring over a bunny one day, and he thought it was really cute until he noticed that it was leaving little pellets all over his apartment. And so he got it cornered, and he was going to have to, stop the bunny from doing that. So he got it picked up and everything. And of course it was shaking because it was scared that this strange man was picking it up. And he just thought, well, what would happen if I started sending energy? And he started sending energy, and the bunny just kind of relaxed, but then he pushed on Richard, and Richard thought he was trying to get away from him, but no, he just turned himself over in Richard's lap and put his arms and legs out like he was sunning on the beach and wanted some more. So that's not, there's no belief involved in either of these cases.
That's it. Yeah.
An experience that's happening, and we're observing it happening, and in the case of the bunnies, relaxing and opening and receiving. So
yeah, that is a really a neat example. I have to admit that when I started to train as a practitioner, I was very, very skeptical. It wasn't that I disbelieved, but I was very skeptical of the distance sessions. So I think that as I was learning, I really made a point of, I kept an open mind, but I was very attentive to see, what is exactly is going on here, because it's one thing to do it in person and when you're close up and you're, say, hands light touch or hands hovering, but when it's thousands of miles away, that is kind of one extra step of the process. And so I was really, really skeptical, but kept an open mind about it. And I was blown away by the results, even when I felt that nothing was happening, just like you said, the recipient was reporting a powerful session, powerful transformation. And so for me, it was very convincing. And often at the beginning of my journey in quantum touch, I was working with complete strangers who I had never met before, had zero rapport with in order to get my practice hours. So it was a great setup to being skeptical, because I wasn't, they weren't people I knew. I was never going to talk to them again. And so it was an amazing experience for me. Very, very convincing as to the power of this work, so long as you are doing the techniques as we're taught in the classes. So that was convincing to me. I really enjoy a good skeptic also. I find that it's an important aspect to bring to new things as well, especially things that are a little bit mysterious. And so I'm very, very open to working with people who are skeptical, who just want to maybe try it out and see what happens. Sometimes there are sessions that the results of which are a lot more subtle than others. And of course, there are sessions, the odd time, where a person doesn't perceive that anything has happened at all, which Richard talks about in the book as well. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's important to just be completely open about the process, that there is this element of that we don't necessarily know what is going to happen. Sometimes we set an intention to work on something and something else happens. So I don't think that you need to believe in it. And as Richard says in the book, he writes, this is actually where I got the question for today's video is from page 60 of Richard's book, Quantum Touch, The Power to Heal. And he writes, as I wrote in my first book, Your Healing Hands, you don't have to believe in the ocean to get wet, but you do have to jump in. So, you have to try it out. And he says the same is true here. You don't need to believe in the quantum touch work in order to strongly experience it. Cynics and skeptics do not intellectually know how to block the energy. Quantum touch works, period. So there is a process that's happening independent of belief. And I think that as we go along in our journeys as practitioners, and you're an instructor as well, we get this confirmed to us more and more, that a person doesn't necessarily have to either understand or completely believe in the process in order to experience the effects of it. And I'm sure that's been the same experience for you as well.
Yes. Okay, so the other question is in the last little part of this paragraph that you just read, Richard says cynics and skeptics do not intellectually know how to block the energy, meaning at the conscious level. I have, however, attempted or been asked to send energy to a couple of individuals over the time that I have offered sessions and done the workshops, where I start sending the energy and they're just not receiving it. I can feel that. And in both cases, they were distant sessions. And so I asked them if they felt like there was a blockage there, or if they were having trouble receiving it, and they admitted they were, but they knew why.
Okay.
So we just stopped the session because the energy was not being received by themselves. So they knew where the blockage was, and they were going to go and work with that themselves on their own so that they could be open to receiving the energy. So we as individuals can block it at the at the subconscious level. I guess in the case of these two cases, at first they didn't know. They wanted the sessions. They said yes verbally and at the conscious level, but then when the energy was actually being sent, they were not open and receptive to it. So that can happen on a rare occasion. And they both knew where the block was and that's what was happening. And so, yeah. Anyway.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because everything is vibration, and we can have different things going on inside of us. So some people, even though they might engage in a session, they might have a strong vibration that is kind of even working against them. That might be on the subconscious level, a belief or an emotion that they're holding within them. And as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, in I think the first episode, the principle of entrainment or calibration, a frequency will calibrate to another one, a higher frequency or a stronger frequency. So I think in the example that I gave is, if somebody is more committed to their whatever vibration that they're holding about a subject, then they are to, say, the frequency that's being offered to them, then it might not have the desired effect that the practitioner wants. So there is an element, there is this added aspect of the frequency that's going on in the person, in the client, in the recipient, and that maybe they're not available for the entrainment in that sense, which I don't think has to do with, say, believing in the work or not believing in the work. It just has to do with what's going on in them as an energetic being that we don't always know, because often, we don't know everything about our clients, of course. So in that sense, there could be something that's preventing the entrainment to the higher vibration from taking place, which I think it can happen, which is possibly why, some sessions have more subtle outcomes, or some people may not experience anything on the rare session. And like you said, this person was actually aware that they had a block, which is quite interesting too. Yeah. So in that case, if it's not happening, then there's no point in proceeding with the session either.
Well, sometimes people might not know the block is there, or what it is. Quantum touch, if we send energy to a blocked energy point, and for those watching that maybe they don't know very much about energy light work, that an energy block could feel like a space of discomfort in the body, or of whatever kind it is. It could be emotional, spiritual, or physical. It could be a belief system like what we're talking about here. So with quantum touch, we can send energy to that blockage if they're open to doing that. And there might be 2 or 3 or 4 sessions that might go by, and it will seem like nothing is happening, but that is not what's happening. The energy will eventually move if you continue pursuing it, and are patient, and the person that you've chosen to work with will continue sending energy to that blocked energy point, that eventually it will free up. There's a gal that I was helping that we had 6 sessions working on the issue that she had, and on the 7th, it finally moved. It finally had result. So it can take several sessions sometimes in order for that blockage, blocked, quote unquote, blocked energy to actually have a result. And then you still may want to have some sessions after that to hold that frequency or that vibration, like we were talking about last time, the vibration in place so it stays there and can be reminded of that more balanced way of being in their body.
Yeah, it's really a great way of describing it. And sometimes I refer to those kind of blocks that don't want to move as having momentum. Maybe that's something that's been with them for a long time. So it carries a certain amount of momentum. So it in a sense, it's like, turning around a big cruise ship or something. You don't just flip it on a dime. It takes, a little bit of coaxing, a little bit of space and time and movement to slow that momentum and get the momentum going in the other direction, in which case a client, like you said, might desire support in order to make sure that it stays in that beneficial direction and doesn't turn back the other way. But I do find that is coming up often in sessions with me, that there's frequencies that some people hold, vibrations that carry more momentum than others. And so sometimes that just needs a little bit more attention, which is totally fine.
It's totally fine. And one thing to bear in mind is we're not in charge of the flow of the session. Our soul is in, so to speak, is working with our body intelligence and at the spirit level, and we send the energy, and then we see what happens for that person. So
yeah, I find it's exciting, it's fun, it's kind of adventurous in a way. And when, I tell people, you don't have to know what's going on, you don't have to believe in it. Just like with the question that we're talking about tonight, if you're open to trying, a lot of my clients, this is the first time that they're trying any type of energy healing modality. And so I said, if you're open to having a new experience, and all the better if you like things that are a little bit weird, I tell them. And that takes also any pressure off of having to believe in something that you don't really understand. And it makes it a bit more playful, because I find that this work, it is playful, and it's a whole new experience and way of experiencing ourselves as beings and what we are.
Well, and if we're over serious, the energy won't send as easily. It won't flow. It's like putting a hose outside on the lawn. It's just not going to go through the sprinkler as well. So
no, exactly.
When we have that higher vibratory resonance that we've been talking about, we hear out in society, be high vibe or whatever. This is what we're talking about. And the more that you have delight in your life, and you can be playful and have childlike curiosity and have a good time during your sessions. It doesn't need to be all serious. If someone is really struggling and they have a major thing going on, yes, you want to treat it with appropriateness for the occasion. But generally speaking, you can laugh and have a good time and feel at ease during a session, or even attending the quantum touch workshops. They're not all serious and we need to be studious and all serious.
Exactly.
So anyway,
Great. Well, excellent. I think that we definitely answered the question tonight. Do you have anything else that you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I think that's a good place to wrap up for the evening. I'm not having any images or impressions come to me. So,
Okay, perfect. So thank you so much. And if anybody has any questions that they'd love to hear us discuss about quantum touch, feel free to put them in the comments below. And we will also post our links in the description if you want to check out our websites and our profiles on the Quantum Touch Facebook, on the Quantum Touch website. And I think that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And we'll see you next time on All Things Quantum Touch. Thank you, Shelly.
Thank you for joining us for All Things Quantum Touch. If you'd like to reach us, you can get a hold of us through the links in the description below. See you next time when we discuss the question, can a person experience discomfort either during or after a session?